A fresh take on quickly deployable lightweight video camera support and a very well thought out product. Here's our review of the YC Onion Pineta Peak tripod. How does it stack up to the Sachtler Flowtech? I tried to find out. Quick and easy to deploy tripods are all the rage these days. This is version 2 of the YC Onion Pineta Peak tripod, which we originally reported about in 2022, after which it was refined and updated in 2023, and now we have the production version of this here for review. This is a carbon fiber tripod, the aluminum version was discontinued. The one-clutch design at the top of the legs was made popular with the Flowtech by Sachtler. I've also reviewed the CineD SVT75 tripod, which uses a similar design but seems to be discontinued because it's not available online anymore. However, viewers have asked us to review the YC Onion Pineta Peak and to compare it with the Flowtech. So here we go. First impressions of the YC Onion Pineta Peak when you touch it for the first time? This is a refined product. You can tell from all the details that they've done their homework thinking about what really matters on a tripod in the field. Materials are high quality. There's nothing that makes me immediately think this will break at some point. It's also very lightweight with 3.5 kilograms or 7.7 pounds. Interestingly, the maximum payload of the legs is a whopping 35 kilograms or 77 pounds, so exactly 10 times the weight of the tripod itself. That is the same weight as a Sachtler Flowtech, but somehow subjectively it feels lighter to me. That might also be because of the leg profile, which is a more traditional round telescopic shape, rather than the wide shape of the Flowtech legs. The round legs are just a little bit easier to grab. The clutches on top of each leg are very easy to open and close, which is important because you do end up opening all of them at once in order to change the height of the tripod. YC Onion calls this the FISO release system, and like the Sachtler solution, this is also a patented design, so it seems to work in a different way. Also, because the clutches are next to each other here on top, you can even balance the tripod just by adjusting all three legs at once if you want, in case you're not using a ball head, and that works fairly well. So it's basically adjusting the height of your tripod and leveling it all at once if you want. For that reason, there's also a bubble level indicator directly on the legs next to the bowl. Despite the fact that the clutches are very easy to open and close, there's really no drift in those legs. I can almost hang onto the tripod and it won't collapse any of the feet, which is really great. Now let's stick with the subject of leveling for just a minute. The Pineta Peak tripod from YC Onion comes with a so-called coconut ball head by default. It's a very simple leveler with a 3/8 inch thread to attach a flat mount head on top, and it has a separate bubble level, and the way it's locked and unlocked is extremely convenient. It's just a little lever here on the side. You only need to unscrew the bottom to remove it all together, but not to balance the head. And then you can of course use most other standard 75mm heads with these tripod legs. Now YC Onion offers their own FH75 fluid head as an option, which can be directly attached to the coconut bowl. It's a very basic head without any counterbalance adjustments, but it's also quite inexpensive if you need an additional head for example, a locked off tripod shot. A neat feature on this head is the ability to switch between the standard Sachtler type plate to a DJI RS2, RS3, RS4 plate if you are on a shoot and working on the gimbal and need to switch back and forth with a tripod from time to time. Another one is the way the handle extends, which is almost feeling magical, and it's extremely practical. There's just this little thing here to turn. Amazing. Talking about optional accessories, YC Onion also offers a central shaft for this tripod, which is 50 centimeters or 1.6 feet long. It attaches inside the bowl using a one lever system, and the other lever can then be used to release or lock it. What's cool is that the column can also be mounted upside down if you want low angle shots with your camera. Now here's a little caveat. We tried to use the center shaft setup of the tripod with a motorized slider, and it did end up moving quite a bit towards the end of that movement. Carbon fiber can flex quite a bit. This is a known issue, so if you want more stability, I recommend using the standard setup with a bowl head instead of the center column. Now back to the legs. On top of the legs, there are lock buttons on the unit that I was provided with for review. When pressing these buttons, the legs will stay in place and the entire unit can be carried all at once without the legs unfolding when you carry it on the side. Now, YC Onion informed us that future models of the tripod will not have the locking buttons. And I completely understand why. Because you can't unlock the buttons without also unlocking the angle adjustment of each leg. You pull this out and the angle adjustment is open. So this kind of, have to press it back in again, then the button is out. Now, at the time of the recording of this video, you could still order this version of the tripod with the lock buttons from their website, but they said because some users felt confused by how this works, they decided to remove it. Fair enough for me, because I think with a mid-level or ground spreader attached to the tripod, the legs will stay in place anyway when collapsed and put together. The Pineta Peak also features a nice carrying handle, which is very comfortable to hold. And it's also smart to hold it there, because when carrying it on one of the legs, if you don't have the locking buttons, the legs of course could spread. The top section of the tripod also features 1/4 inch and 3/8 inch threads to attach accessories, for example a Noga arm. It's great that they also thought about adding RE locking pins, so the arm itself doesn't turn when attaching or moving it. The Pineta Peak is quite versatile when it comes to height adjustment. It can go as low as 16 centimeters or 6.3 inches and as high as 155 centimeters or 61 inches. With the optional central shaft accessory, you can reach up to 185 centimeters or 73 inches. There is both a mid-level spreader as well as a ground-level spreader for the YC Onion Pineta Peak tripod available. Now let's take a look at the mid-level spreader first. The attachment system of the mid-level spreader is quite smart and very straightforward. It works by twisting and pulling back. And of course, there's also a length adjustment for each one of the 3 legs. And there is also a movable adjustment switch in the middle at the center here, which lets you choose between 3 different angles. In the center of this middle switch, there's also a retractable 1/4 inch screw here, which you can pull out and just attach accessories on. So the fun thing is you can use this mid-level spreader as a small tabletop tripod. It doesn't have any kind of bells and whistles. You can't really, pan or tilt. But if you just need an extra angle, you just put the camera on top here and put it on a table, and that's it. Very nice. Moving on to the ground level spreader, which also features a very convenient quick release design that works a little bit differently from the one on the mid-level spreader, but I think it's even easier to use, which in my opinion is quite important when working on the floor, because you really want to be fast with this and you don't want to mess around in the dirt, if you know what I mean. To extend the 3 legs of the ground level spreader, there is a push button which you can press with your foot on each one of them, and then there's various steps of adjustment. The ground level spreader itself is made of carbon fiber, just like the rest of the tripod and also the mid-level spreader. But to me personally, on a ground spreader, this almost feels excessive, since I'm a little bit worried to scratch or break it when working outside on gravel with it. Then again, ground level spreaders are a better fit on even surfaces like inside a studio or on concrete, so you should be fine if you take good care of it. While we're already on the floor, let's talk about the feet. YC Onion introduced new spikes with the second version of the Pineta Peak tripod, where the rubber feet are magnetically attached, which is super convenient. You can only remove and attach the rubber feet when you angle them in like this, so there is no danger of actually losing them in the field. But nevertheless, this makes them significantly easier to attach and remove than on other tripods. Now let's conclude this review. YC Onion introduced some really smart ideas with the Pineta Peak, and it's very nice to see that they're constantly enhancing the product, which might make it hard to see which version you have, but ultimately it's very good for the product, and a product that keeps getting better. It's also a tripod that just works, and you will know your way around using it quite quickly since it's very intuitively built. I can see this tripod becoming a standard tripod for small to medium-sized camera setups, but I would recommend using it with a higher-end fluid head than the little add-on fluid head that YC Onion offers. That leads us to the ultimate question. How does it stack up to the Sachtler Flowtech? Well, it's hard to tell which product works better for me, since they are both very well thought out and the lever design on both of them works really well. However, the YC Onion Pineta Peak costs less than half of what the Flowtech one costs, so the price-performance competition is won by YC Onion for sure. It's fair to say that it's time to look beyond the traditional tripod manufacturers these days, as there's serious innovation coming out in tripods from Chinese companies, and YC Onion for me is really leading the pack with their Pineta Peak tripod. Thanks everybody for watching, stay tuned to CineD for a lot more reviews like this one, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Thank you.